shakes. He speaks, the mountains smoke. He speaks, kings and queens die. He is the prophet. He controls the lines of time. His words are perfect rhymes. He's accused of false crime. His words control all the lines. He speaks, the ground shakes. He speaks, the mountains smoke. He speaks, kings and queens die. He is the prophet.
Welcome to the Dr. Sal Adoni Show. Fans of Dr. Sal Adoni call him the great genius, a figure that Nostradamus wrote about. His theories in math and astrophysics are used by government agencies. His theory E has proven Newton and Einstein are wrong. His prime algorithm is used by the NSA. His planetary distance formula is used by NASA to find new planets. His EOE theory is used by the USGS in earthquake prediction modeling. He founded two different think tanks, including Helix Q, the artificial intelligence think tank. Dr. Adoni is the founder of the cryptocurrency BizBytes. Dr. Adoni is also the founder of the One Media Network. One Media produces dozens of podcast shows for the iPodcast network.
This is Dr. Saul Adoni. Welcome to another segment of the Dr. Saul Adoni Show. You can find more segments at sauladoni.com and ipodcast.org. Sauladoni.com is SOLADONI.com. This is Dr. Saul Adoni. This is my main site, sauladoni.com. That's SOLADONI.com. You go there, there's latest videos about the coronavirus, my books, written over 100 books, past 25 years. I'm also very famous as Solog, that's my religious name. So you hear the prophecies of Solog, you can go to solog.com, SOLLOG.com, and you'll see 25 years ago I gave a warning that in the year 2020 it would be the start of bio warfare, and we're seeing it right now. Coronavirus is a biological weapon, was released in Wuhan where it was made. Wuhan has the only level 4 bio lab in China. That's why the density there was so hot. Now, I've been talking about the safe zones for 25 years. My organization is Temple of Hayah, known as TOE. You can go to templehayah.org. That's Temple, T-E-M-P-L-E, and then Hayah, Hayah.org. When Moses asked God what was his name, he said Hayah. Haya Shir Haya. Haya is Haya. Incorrectly translated is I am that I am. Anyway, here you'll see information about the plague and safe zones. You click on safe zones, and people, for 25 years, I've been telling people, you got to go to the safe zones. You want to donate to help spread this warning. There's all kinds of donation buttons there. You can donate. If you go to my Salog site, you can see the safe zone information is in there. Okay, so you load safe zones. Right there underneath Salog, you go to safe zones, and you'll see the map of the world. So for 25 years, I've been talking about this, people. Northern Canada, the mountains of South America, mountains of North China. These are the remote areas where humanity that doesn't want to be touched by these viruses should be going. So 25 years ago, 1995, I warned of several things. Said biological warfare was coming in the year 2020. Be in the safe zones. Warned about nuclear terrorism, great quakes. We've had a 100% increase in great quakes since the year 2000 and 7.0. Great hurricanes. We've had a huge increase in great hurricanes since I released this warning. Now we're at the biological warfare stage and expecting nuclear terrorism to manifest. Also spoke about an asteroid strike after 2022 for 2023. Last year I changed that after 25 years, saying that grays were being allowed to interfere and stop the asteroid strike. The reason the tsunamis would create hundreds of Fukushima events all over the world from the tsunamis on either ocean that would be caused by an asteroid strike. So that's been diverted, but we still have this terrible biological warfare going on. So get to the safe zones, go to Temple Haya, donate, go to my sites, get my books, my prophecies. I've written over 100 books. Okay. Now, this is how you go and see the huge increase in cases outside of China. So right now, it looks like everything's contained because China a month ago, in here when you only had 26 deaths a day happening when it was 25%, they shut down China. 500 million people went into quarantine a month ago. That's why this went from 25% down to 1%. So if we continued on 1% for the world, that would be great. The problem is the rest of the world isn't quarantining. So this is how it's spreading right now. Yesterday, we were down to 43 deaths outside of China. This is today's stats as of the 27th of February. This morning, these numbers were only 53. So this video is based on there being only 10 more deaths than yesterday. Yesterday, we had 43 here. Well, since this morning, when I last checked, when it was up to 53, we're now up to 70 outside of China. So the numbers I'm going to give you is based on it only increasing 10 today. Well, the reality is it exploded from 43 to 70. So more than a 50% increase. And if you go back here to the beginning of the China event, you can see here, this is at the very beginning when it was exploding. 47%, 64%, 37, 43. Okay, so now it looked like we were going to be here, 25%. And at 25% exponential growth every day, you go from 53 to 6.5 billion in 90 days. Now that it's up here in the 50% range, people, there might be no one left in 45 days. This thing's in wildfire outside of China. Okay, so we're going to look at outside of China. China had all the deaths. Well, now all these areas are reporting deaths. Okay, it was 43 yesterday, people. It's now 70. That's a huge increase. Iran, 26 deaths. Italy, 17 deaths. South Korea, 13 deaths. Japan, 8 deaths. And then you have the little ones just starting to go here. United States hasn't reported any deaths yet. Well, that's going to change. You had the Super Bowl in South Florida a few weeks ago. There's a ton of the virus in South Florida. You have the cruise ships all based out of South Florida. So South Florida is going to be heavily hit. People, this is no joke. If we look at a spreadsheet, this is how you do the math. If you put in up here 53 deaths, now that number is now 70 today. So this is when I did it earlier today before I did the video. 53 times 1.23, that's 23%. Exponentially increased for 10 days. 10 days, we're going to have 420. Well, forget about it. It's going to be much higher in 10 days. We're already now up to 70 today, when it was 53 this morning. So again, using 53, okay, if it's increasing 40% unchecked because no one's in quarantines, we don't have much time, people. Anyway, let's look at the math for just 10 days at 23%. 420 people dead, 10 days. So that's going to be March 8th, at least 420 dead. It's probably going to be 1,000 or more. 30 days from now, we're talking about 26,000 if we just keep it at 23%. And remember, people, China only started going down because they put 500 million people in quarantine. Iran has said they will not quarantine anybody. It's Allah's will. Allah's will. So Iran's going to be wiped off the map with this virus. And people, it's killing, in other areas. When you look at the deaths to the recovered, it's like for every death, only 2 people recovered. It's like 35% kill ratios. So this thing is huge, people. It's an extinction level event that you're witnessing. It's biological warfare, probably created by China in Wuhan. They released it on themselves, probably accidentally. They quarantined 500 million people immediately because they knew what it was. And the rest of the world has no clue, man. This is bio warfare. China's going to wipe out the planet. Now, in 60 days, using this formula at only 23%, you're up to 131 million people or dead people in 60 days. That's at 23%. It might be double that. Might be 40%, 50% a day growth. Then you have over here 6.5 million people in 90 days. So just starting at 53, and it's already 70, and it's about 50% instead of 23% growth. You go 53 at 23% for 90 days. You're at 6.5 billion people. And 90 people, that's the population outside of China. It's wiped out in 90 days. Maybe half that time. So this is what the government and the media isn't telling you, people. This is an extinction level event. You're going to see huge growths every day. It's going to be just like the early days of the China increase, when we were seeing exponential growth in China before they locked down everybody. So here's the end of January when they started locking down people. It went from 43 to 33 to 27. Then it stayed in the teens, and then it was in single digits, and now it's down to 1%. Yeah, if these numbers are true out of China, China is now contained. What about the rest of the world? Look, Iran, 26 dead now. It was half of that yesterday. Italy, 17 dead. It was half of that yesterday. South Korea, 13 dead. Japan, 8 dead. These numbers were nothing a couple days ago. Yesterday it was 43. This morning it was 53. Now this afternoon it's 70. People, this is very serious because this is the same type of growth we had in China. So now multiply China by a whole bunch of other countries. Yes, China has a huge population, but the rest of the world is, bigger than China. 6.5 billion people compared to 1.5 billion in China, 8 billion people on the planet. And this thing is now spreading as wildfire. Why do you think the Dow Jones dropped 10% in 3 days? 10% of the world's wealth in stocks gone in 3 days. Forget about the stock market. It's a crash like you've never seen before is coming. People, this is very serious. Go to salag.com, look at the safe zones, go to templehaya.org. You know, we need to get these safe zones going. Okay? So, I don't know what percentage of humanity will be left after this craziness happens in the next few months, but the safe zones are the future. So go there. Let's set up these safe zones. I need your help to help me get this going. Again, you know, I've been warning for 25 years, since 1995. You can look online and see an old Usenet timestamp post. There's crazy Salag saying 2020, I've seen it. Biowarfare is coming. Well, guess what, people? It's 2020, and I was right. So I'm vindicated. I'm what they call, in the old days, a prophet, a seer. I do astral traveling meditation, and I saw clear events that I warned of, and now it's coming to fruition. You can Google me and see there's thousands and thousands of pages around. Go look up my books on Amazon and eBay and, you know, all the other places, okay? So people, even though it's contained in China, the rest of the world is now on fire. 40% increase every day in deaths. We don't have much time, people. Get your food, get your water, stay in your house, keep your kids out of school, and let's get through this thing. Have a great day. To listen to more podcasts from Dr. Saul Adoni, you can visit sauladoni.com or ipodcast.org. This is Dr. Saul Adoni. I'm going to be talking about the exponential growth of the coronavirus death count outside of China. Now that we have real data coming in, we can see how really explosive and dangerous this virus is. There'll be a link below in this video. You can see my video yesterday right here, where I spoke about the coronavirus having a 25% daily death rate increase. So that's February 27th. Okay, today is February 28th. Today, if you go to worldometer.info, okay, you can see the death counts. We're up to almost 3,000 around the world. Now, what I'm doing is I'm ignoring the fake info that's coming out of China. So if we sort the new death counts, okay, you'll see Iran had 8 added today. Italy had 4 added today. South Korea had 3. Diamond Princess had 2. China, we're going to ignore. Japan, we had 1 today. So 1 and 2 is 3, and 3 is 6, and 4 is 10, and 8 is 18. We had 18 new deaths today. Go back to the math. Yesterday, I showed you some math with the number 53 in it, but it was actually 70 yesterday, as I mentioned in the video. 70 times 1.25 times 1 day is 87.5. So it started with 70, we got 18 added, that's 88. 87.5 is 88. So my algorithm perfectly forecasted today's death of 88 total outside of China. That's 25%, people. Now, as I mentioned, 25%, it's not going to take that long to kill everybody. I mean, this is literally 80-day total, 4 billion people in 80 days. Now, tomorrow's death count based on 88 today times 1.25 is 110. So tomorrow we're going to see an increase of 22 deaths. So we'll be right around 110. Maybe it's 111, 109, but it's going to be basically 25% growth from where we are today at 88 deaths outside of China. In 10 days, people, that 25% exponential growth, we have over 800 dead outside of China in 10 days. In 30 days, we're going to have 71 dead all over the world. Now, China, who knows what their real numbers are? What we do know is allegedly they quarantined 500 million people a month ago. So maybe they were able to stop the wildfire spread of this. No one knows till we get the real body count from China. But this is outside China, people. Just starting with 88 deaths, multiplying it by 25% increase every day, exponentially for 30 days. In 30 days, people, we're going to have 71,000 dead outside of China. By that time, most of the world will probably panic and go into a quarantine and lockdowns, and it's going to be real rough all over the world. Third world nations with bad health care, they're only now at the beginning of getting exposed. Africa's got cases. Mexico got cases. Latin America's got cases. These countries, people, are not set up to incubate people in their lungs and try to save them. So you're going to see massive death rates. Now, in 60 days, 88 times 1.25, which is 25% for just 60 days, 57 million dead people in 60 days. This is a wildfire pandemic. In 80 days, most of the human population could be dead. This thing reinfects people. And the original death rate is much higher than China let on. It's around 35% outside of China. So in other words, for every death right now, only 2 people get cured. That's the real numbers, people. Okay? So when you start looking at the death counts and the people cured, it's nothing like what China said. It's 35% death rates, maybe 25%. So every time someone dies, you have 2 or 3 people that are being cured. So first wave of this virus, which is a bioweapon coming out of China, Wuhan, that's where their level 4 biolab is, the only one in China. That's where they play with viruses and weaponize them. That's why Wuhan is still locked down. This is a bioweapon, people. Now, if you search me by religious name Solag, you're going to see 25 years ago, Solag, the prophecies of Solag said 2020 bio warfare is coming, 99.9% of the population could be wiped out. This is where we are now 25 years later, people. Okay, this is a bioweapon, so you need to get to what's called the safe zones. Now, going back here to the death counts, you can see here, 34 people dead in Iran. Only 73 recovered. Italy, 21 dead, 46 recovered. South Korea, 16 dead, 24 recovered. So the death rate based on recovered versus death is huge. It's 25 to 35%, people. It's not the 2 or 3% that China was BSing about for the past month. So we can't believe anything that came out of China. The virus came out of China. It's a bioweapon. You go to my site, Solag, click on the blog. On the blog, you go underneath Solag to safe zones, and you see there's information there with links to where in 1995, I started talking about get to the safe zone by 2020. Biological warfare was coming. This is it, people. This is the map. These are the safe zones. High mountains of South America, high mountains of Northwest Canada, high mountains of North Canada. That's where around 6 million people are supposed to survive this plague. It's coming. It's here. So there's no way to be nice about this, people. You have a wildfire pandemic, all these cities. You have deaths now in all these cities already. A week or two from now, all these numbers are going to be huge. And we have cases now. Look at every country's infected. All these countries, they're all popping on now. They're all getting new cases. The whole world's being infected with this, people. And it's going right through the populations. So this is a bioweapon. It came out of China. Wuhan is a level 4 lab, the only one in China, level 4 bio lab. It's where they can weaponize viruses. This is a weaponized virus. That's why the kill ratios are 2 to 1. 1 death for every 2 or 3 recoveries. That's huge, people. It's nothing like the 2% that China lied about. Okay? So we got big time kill ratios. You look at the numbers, again, 24 recovered in South Korea, a very advanced society with great health care. 16 deaths. Okay? That's almost 50%. Italy, 21 deaths, 46 recoveries. Again, around 30%. Diamond Princess, we've had 6 deaths to only 10 recoveries. Iran, 34 deaths to 73 recoveries. Japan, great health care, so they're a little better. 5 deaths to 32 recovered. People, this is the real deal. Get ready, get your water, get your food, get ready to ride out 40 days in quarantine, if not 60 days. The whole world should be locked down right now, 40 days. Let this thing burn out. But instead, the leaders will be letting commerce go around like it's nothing. It's the flu. It's not the flu, people. It's a bioweapon. Go to my site, salog.com. Go to the blog. Click on Safe Zones. There's links to, time-stamped documents in Usenet, court records, where I put 1995, 1996. I kept talking about 2020 is the year most of humanity dies. Biological warfare. We're also supposed to have nuclear terrorism soon. We've been having great quakes all over the world since I wrote this. Last 20 years, great quakes have increased 100%. Quakes over 7. So how did I 25 years ago know we were going to have 100% increase in the largest type of quakes all over the world? 1995, there wasn't that many great hurricanes happening. I said, look, great hurricanes are coming. Last 20 years, we've had an explosion of the largest type hurricanes and typhoons all over the world. So I'm the seer. 25 years ago, I warned people. Most of the people laughed. Well, now the same people are still laughing. They think nothing's wrong. Well, those people are all dead soon. The survivors, you're going to take this warning, get out of populated areas and lay low and protect your family. When it burns out, you come out, and then we're going to have to establish the safe zones through the Temple of Hayah. That's my organization. You can go there, make a huge donation for the safe zones, and we're going to be involved in putting the money that my books raise, and any donations from my warnings are all going into trying to establish the safe zones, people. We got to move people to the safe zones. These 3 little dots, mountains in South America, mountains in Canada, mountains in China, those are the safe zones. This is my site, Solog. That's my religious name, SOLLOG.com. Dr. Adoni is my other site. I've written over 100 books, a lot of academic work. I run think tanks, stuff like that. Okay, so I'm a famous person, people. Okay, I've been talking about this event since 1995 online. There's over 100,000 websites with info about me. After 9/11, I was front page news all over Europe. The media in the United States is forbidden to talk about me by order of the FBI, Homeland Security. Why? I'm the guy that predicted exact details of 9/11. I was front page news in Germany, Der Spiegel. Been mentioned in British press, all over Australia press, been on all kinds of radio shows over the years. So people, I've been talking about this since 2020. If you want to get some of my books, Temple of Haya, we got a great book about, the safe zones. We got books about my prophecies, stuff like that. My academic books. Anyway, people, this is Dr. Saul Adoni. That's SOLADONI.com or Solog.com, SOLLOG. Go to one of my sites and start reading up on my warnings in the safe zones, or templehayah.org. That's HAYAH. Have a great day, people. May God protect you. This is Dr. Saul Adoni. It's my site, soladoni.com, SOLADONI.com. Okay, I'm going to be talking about the astronomical progression of the coronavirus outside of China. Before I do that, let me explain some of my other sites where you can get my information at. My religious name is Solog. That's SOLLOG.com. You can go to that site. Very famous for my warnings about the future, which I'll discuss a little bit later on, saying that 2020 was when bio-warfare would be starting. So I've been saying that since 1995, people. And that's what this is. This is bio-warfare, this coronavirus. And I'll show you proof of that soon. I'm also the founder of Temple of Haya. It's Hayah, the original Hebrew name for the Almighty. When Moses asked God what his name was, he said Hayah, Shir Hayah. You can go there, check out my safe zones. There's some info about the plague of 2020 is here. So those are my three main sites. Now, the astronomical increase in coronavirus. Go to this site here, worldometers.info. It keeps track of all the deaths, all the cases, all the countries. And this is sorted right now based on new deaths today. China is excluded. 12 in Iran, 11 in Italy, 7 in South Korea, 5 in the USA. France is 1. So this is March 2nd. So these are the totals for today, people, outside of China. That's 36 deaths. You can go down here and see the total, 36 new deaths. Now, that is 25% increase from yesterday. You look at this spreadsheet here. Yesterday we had 140 deaths. Today we have 175. 35 increase. That's 25%, people. Half of 140 is 70. You have that, that's 35. 175 minus 140, 35. So we had exactly a 25% increase. And that's what I've been warning about, people. This is a video I did on the 28th. You go in and see my videos I've been putting out about the coronavirus. And I started talking about 25% increases. So you go over here. And you see coronavirus is increasing 25%. Right here. You'll see on the 27th, I was talking about 25% increase. So you go to this video here, and you see 5 days ago, when the death count was only 70, I'm talking about 25% daily increase. So on the 27th, as the timestamped video says, death counts were 70. Next day it went to 88, then 107, then 140, 175. Every day, people, this is multiplying by 25%. So back when the death count was 70, I showed these numbers here. The next day it would be 87.5. It was 88. 10 days down the road, it would be 650. 30 days, 56,000. 60 days, 45 million. 90 days, 4 billion. Or rather 80 days, okay? Now, we go to the new numbers today, 175, and we increase it 125. Tomorrow we're going to have 218, 219 deaths. So it's going to increase right around 43, 44 deaths. So instead of being what it is today, 36, it's jumping up to 45. In 10 days, we're talking about 1,600 deaths outside of China. In 30 days from today, March 2nd, so you're looking at April 1st, 141,000 deaths outside of China. May 1st, you're looking at 114 million. So 60 days from now, people, 114 million deaths all over the world from coronavirus, based on a 25% daily exponential increase. And without quarantines, that's the numbers we're heading to. Within 80 days, you're looking at almost 10 billion. Well, the problem is there's only 8 billion. So that means humans have less than 80 days to try to stop this 25% exponential increase. People, isolate yourselves now. That's the only way you're going to break this. The government's not going to quarantine you till it's too late. And I've been talking about this, people. If you go into groups on Google, you start searching, okay, you're going to see different things when you start searching for, like, my interview in 2001. This is from 20 years ago, people. I'm talking about 2020 and how we're going to have biological warfare, which this virus is. This virus started in Wuhan, China, the only level 4 biolab in China. That's where they play with the most serious viruses. So it was released somehow out of that virus in Wuhan, which is right near the wet market in Wuhan. Whether it was accidental, intentional, who knows? Point is, this is a altered virus out of the Wuhan level 4 biolab. That's where it came out. This is a biological terrorist, okay? Biological warfare, whatever you want to call it, people. This was created by humans. And I tell you got to get to the safe zones by 2020. So you look at my writings, there's another one of my writings. We have till 2020, says Solog. This was way back in 2002. Now, it goes back to even earlier than that. It Goes back to 1995, 1996 when I started putting full-page ads in newspapers in Philadelphia and putting information in my court. I keep talking about 2020 and biological warfare, and nuclear terrorism, and great quakes and great hurricanes. Well, we had a 100% increase since 2000 in 7.0 quakes. So last 20 years, we've had a 100% increase. We've had a huge increase in the largest hurricanes also. So earthquakes have increased, 7.0 and above, 100%. Category 5 hurricanes have been increasing. We haven't had nuclear terrorism yet, but that's one of the 4 things I spoke about. Now you go back to my site, click on blog. Then you click on under Salog Safe Zones. And in Safe Zones, I start talking about 2020 and bio-warfare, nuclear terrorism, great quakes, great hurricanes. Also spoke about an asteroid strike. Now, till last year, I've been speaking about this asteroid strike, and then last year it was changed. I said the grays that humans call the gray aliens, who aren't really aliens, but the grays would be allowed to interfere, and the asteroid wouldn't strike as horrifically as I've been saying. So that there's going to be interfering there. Now on this page in the safe zones, you're seeing North Canada, the mountains up there, mountains in South America, mountains in North China. These are the areas that are remote enough where humanity can rebuild itself. All these other pentagrams, these are all death zones, people. This is where all the viruses and all the nuclear terrorism and all the bad stuff is going to be. So you stay out of those areas. You go to the mountains up in Canada, the mountains in Brazil, mountains in North China, and that's where humanity has to rebuild itself. Math is simple, people. Check out my earlier videos. Almost a week ago, I started telling you. Every day, the death count outside of China would increase 25%. Every day, I'm being vindicated. I'm the only one that knows what's going on. All these other people have no clue. They're using bad data out of China. And right now, it's a wildfire pandemic. And it's a bioweapon. That's why we're seeing numbers like this. As far as the infections, you go over here, you start looking at infections. China's got 80,000 infections so far today. Well, there's 90,000 worldwide. So that means there's 10,000 infections outside of China. Yet today we increased 1,700. That's 17% increase, people, in one day. So you're going to see huge increases in new cases outside of China. And when you start looking at the death to cured ratios, okay, 52 deaths in Italy, 149 cured. You know, that's 3-to-1. Iran, 66 deaths, 291 cured. South Korea, 28 deaths, only 30 cured. That's almost 1-to-1. For every person cured, one person dies. United States, 6 deaths, 9 cured. And remember, people, this thing reinfects. And the reinfections are even worse than the original one. So even though it's like a 25% death ratio the first time through, when reinfections and they're worse, you're talking about almost 100% fatalities here, people, in 2 infections. So the numbers are terrible. Isolate yourself now. Dig in for 120 days. And when you come out, the few humans that are left, we're going to have to go up to the safe zones and start building. Since 1995, people, I've been warning about these safe zones. No one wanted to believe me. Well, now proof is in the pudding. I was right. 2020 was the year. Safe zones are now the most important thing for humanity. And this death virus will be marching along 25% every day, increasing, until massive quarantines are put in place. Will developed countries put in quarantines before it's too late? Who knows? They're being deceived because of the China numbers. China quarantined 500 million people over a month ago. So that was your sign, people. This was an escaped bioweapon. No one wants to talk about that fact. This is a bioweapon. It's not a flu. So all the other numbers that people are throwing around are irrelevant. Every day, people, you're seeing me be vindicated when 25% more die. And if you do the math, in no time at all, you get up to extinction level numbers within 90 days. So people, that's the end of this video. This was Dr. Adoni. You can go to my site, check out the books I've written, over 100 in the past 25 years. A lot of information on my sites, people. Solog.com, templehaya.org. Anyway, this was March 2nd. This was Dr. Adoni. Have a great day. This is Dr. Adoni. It's March 5th, 2020. Today I'll be discussing the historic rise of the coronavirus out of China, the exponential increase in the death counts outside of China. This is my site, soladoni.com. That's SOLADONI.com. Also known by my religious name, Solog, SOLLOG.com. Now, for the past 25 years, my so-called prophecies have been warning about the year 2020 and how that is when bio-warfare would start. And the prophecies warned it could actually kill up to 99.9% of humanity. Will this bioweapon out of Wuhan do that? Time will tell, people, and it's going to be a very quick time. The numbers are amazing how fast this is spreading. This is my organization. It's templehaya.org. So, Temple of Haya. Haya is spelled Hayah.org. Basically, that's the true name that God Almighty gave Moses. So I formed that 25 years ago. And it all speaks about the safe zones. There's info about the plague, and you click up here, safe zones. Basically, that's been warning people for 25 years, get out of the urban areas, get into remote areas so you can protect yourselves from the future bio-warfare, nuclear terrorism, quakes, hurricanes, etc. So the bio-warfare end of it is starting. Now, what I want to focus on in this video is a week ago on YouTube. You can see my video here, Adoni, coronavirus death count outside China explodes to 25% daily. That's February 27th, a week ago. At that time, people, the coronavirus was only 70. Now, if we go into a calculator, it's a scientific calculator, and we'll clear it, and we'll just do some simple math. So 70 times 1.25, that's the percentage I warned. And then we're going to put in a exponent. And the exponent is 7 days. So what does that 70 turn into? 333. Well, people, that's the death count right now. We're right around 340. So it's grown at a fraction over 25%. So people, I'm the only person in the world that said 7 days ago exactly how many would be dead. It's 25% a day. And now, people, if we change this algorithm to 65 days, okay, so we're going to erase the 7, and we put in 65. It's 13 billion people. Oh, sorry, 139 million. So that's based on 70. If we put in today's number and we go out 65 days, then that's when it's over 8 billion. So we can clear this out if we put in today's death count, which is 340 people, times 1.25%, 1.25, that's 25%. And we do exponential increase. 65 days, people, from today. So 65 today. $677 million. 65 days from today. Now, if we change that to 67 days, we're up in the billions. So we'll go 340 times 1.25, and we'll go out 67 days. It's 10 billion. Okay, so people got 67 days to everyone's dead. Will everyone die? Well, right now, the death ratio, when you start looking at it, dead to cured outside of China. So when you remove China from here, you can see today it grew 70 today. One of them is China. So when you start backing off total deaths, China has 3,000. Okay, so we're looking at 340 of this 3,400 is outside China. Then by the total recovered. And the total recovered outside of China, 52 recovered in China. So 2,000. So 2,000 have been recovered around the world, but yet it's 350. So that's a huge percentage of people are dying, people. Okay, it's like 4 to 1. So for every person that's cured outside of China, for every person that dies outside of China, you have 4 that are cured. So forget the China numbers. That throws everything out of balance. It's about what's happening outside of China right now, where there are no quarantines. You had 41 people die today in Italy. All right. Now you go and you look at what this was a week ago. Italy had 17 deaths 7 days ago. Italy today, 148 in 7 days. Iran now has 108. USA has 12 now, another one today. Only 9 people have recovered. So 9 deaths, 9 people recovered. Italy, 100 and almost 50 deaths, 400 recovered. See how high the death to recovered ratios are, people? It's 20% are dying. And now we're adding all these other little countries that now have hundreds. Spain has almost 300. France has 400 with the virus. So their death counts are going to be climbing higher and higher. Look at all these countries that now have corona cases. Almost half of the countries in the world are now infected. I don't see this stopping anytime soon, and the whole thing is we don't have a lot of time. This thing is growing 25% a day, the deaths. So what that means, people, is without some outside intervention by the governments, quarantines for, 100 days to break this thing. The death counts are just going to march through. Now, if it is really only 20%, well, it also has reinfections, and that's what I'm most worried about. Because let's say this infects everybody and 20% dies. All right, 8 billion people, 1.5 billion are going to die, mostly older people. But it's reinfecting. And it's killing across the board, not just old people, over 60. Over 60 is only 11% of the population in the world. So, will that burn it out that there's only so many old people, older 60? I'm almost there. So, yeah, I'm old. Not quite 60, but, not that far from it. A couple months. So I'm right on the cusp of being what is a primary target for this virus. Okay? Younger people are dying. Supposedly it's transferring over to pets. So this could be an extinction level event, people, if the reinfection is killing across the board. So that's what we have to start looking for. Now, in a short amount of time, with this thing marching along, 25% increase every day, 25% more people. The numbers get huge real quick, people. So right now, it's no big deal. 150,000 people die every day. So what? 100 people are dying of this disease. Well, exponential math is going to put it up to the normal death rate every day, 150,000. People were there in 35 days. In 35 days, this thing keeps growing 25% a day. Well, it's killing 150,000 people a day, just like regular death. So we have a little bit over a month to where this virus is killing what every other disease kills. That's a month, people, a month from now. So urge your governments, lock it down. Let's go into quarantine. It's the only way we're going to break this wildfire. Or is it intentional depopulation by the governments? People have been saying for a long time we're overpopulated. The elite's got underground bunkers. They're all going to be hiding underground. Well, maybe this is surface extermination. I think it's escaped bioweapon out of China. Wuhan, where it started, is the only level 4 biolab in China. So yeah, it came out of a biolab in China. No question. There's no coincidence that this thing coming out of Wuhan, where their only biolab is that can handle something like this, it's not a coincidence. So was it a leak? Was it intentional? Why did China lock down 500 million people so quick once it started spreading? They knew what it was. They knew it was a bioweapon. They knew how deadly it was, and they locked down their country. Wuhan is still locked down, people. Month and a half later, the people are welded into their apartments. They can't get out. So that's what happened in China, people. It's catastrophic. And now it's happening in all these countries around the world. People, be very concerned about this, okay? Because a month from now, it'll be too late. It takes, 3 to 4 weeks for the virus, once it affects you, to work through your system. So if we wait a month from now, well, then guess what? We're out 2 months, and once we get to 60, 70 days, there's nobody left. Everyone's dead. So we have to watch for reinfections. When this all settles, 100, 120 days from now, people, the safe zones is where you all want to be. So go to Temple Haya, start donating to safe zones, and let's build, an agro society in the safe zones. This is Dr. Adoni. Have a great day.